Good evening. I'm Darshini again, and here I am in Reno tonight, and just finished up an expo, and it's a bit nippy out there. Actually, it's about 29 degrees and dropping a bit there. So I just wanted to share a few things for this evening. This video is about depression. Now, depression is obviously majority for a lot of people. It could be a clinical aspect in their life where it is medically related to a few imbalances in their body, in their chemistry. I'm not a doctor, I don't claim to be ever, and this is not advice that one should just take without regard to their own intuition and their own insight, and this means for all the videos I'll be sharing with you. But I do advise that this should be considered at least. When I read for people, I see a majority of people who go into a lot of dark, deep depressions, and this is not usually their norm. I'm not saying it is some of their makeup where they've always suffered from depression. That would be indicative of actually clinical depression. So what I'm talking about is when life comes to you and then you find yourself moving in and more each day, and in for longer periods. I wouldn't say suddenly, but it gradually comes on, where you are actually suffering a depression, where you don't feel that you are worthy of people around you, or not that you suffer all of these symptoms, but this is what I see some people, some of these aspects, where they're actually getting snippy with people, they're getting rebellious, they're not, they don't want to socialize, they actually start closing down their centers of socialization, so that they only want to be alone most of the time. They don't want to be around in parties or any kind of community. It really is part of a depression where you're in a change of a major chapter. Not everybody goes through this, and it depends on everybody in their own lives when they change to a chapter which is a major chapter, which I see. So usually preceding a major change in their lives, I see that people go through this sometimes incredibly mortifying and debilitating depression. Some people show it where they're crying. Some people I see that they are, as a claircognitive, one of the things is that I am able to see, and that they are literally they can be in front of a TV and zone out, and that is their only escape. So they find other ways to escape. Some people, I'm afraid, go into the extremes of drugs and abuse of that sort, but others mostly are into either, even alcoholism, but mostly that they just shut off everybody and everything. They can't communicate, they don't want to communicate, because quite frankly it's so strangling to them that they can't even find the answers to why they're in this mood or this modality. So basically that is what a basic depression, that if you find yourself in, it all depends on the time. It sometimes even lasts about a year or so, sometimes only a few months if you're lucky. But let me explain how spirit explains what this kind of particular depression is. It's not something that you should be fearful of. It is actually a gift to a certain extent. When we look at it, where our lives are at this moment in time, in this century, that we are actually exploding with so much technology. We have things that we're worrying about at work. You've got children, you've got troubles financially, most people. They're worrying about everything. Then they've got the internet, you've got the TV. You've got a lot of things inputting into your own spirit that is more or less bombarding you with either negativity or how can I say this? It's really like having a lot of input where it's dour and it's disaster here and disaster that. And actually that's one of my personal beefs, is with the news. and certain media is that, and I teach quite a few classes, over 30, might be even 40 now, but basically what I find is that they teach, or they talk about on the news, all the bad things, and they actually beef this up, and they go on, and if you know, if there's a fire, and I'm based in California, they practically have it 24 hours. So anything that's devastation, murder, whatever, is really frontline news, even in the newspapers. And where do you find the good news? The good news is usually found right at the back, and even on a lead-in on a TV, on a news station, they say, oh well, these marvelous kittens, and wait for the miracle that happened, and they keep you literally hooked on until you see that story, which will be put at the last story practically. So they know it's a good thing, but I don't know, it's so sad that our society deems that it should be on the negative and not the positive feed that you could get, that raises your endorphins. But that's why I advocate a lot of my students that they don't even watch the news. A lot of it is programmed, and you should really realize that you should make your own mind about certain events and research it, not that we even have time.